Hey guys, my name's Brian Lee. Welcome back to another exciting tutorial here in Photoshop. So I've been getting a lot of questions, especially from designers who are just starting out with Photoshop, about how layer order works. So in this tutorial, I'm going to go over the layers palette, both how to use it and how to keep it organized. So layers are one of Photoshop's strongest features. They allow a designer to have a complete control over different aspects of their design. Not only do layers allow a designer to manipulate their layers separately, but they also allow a designer to build a multi-level composition, producing very beautiful and realistic designs. So let's take a look at the basics of using layers. Alright, so here I have this comp open. I just have 3 layers and the background layer. So I turn these off, I'm just left with this white background. If I turn that off, I have nothing. For the purposes of this lesson, I'm just going to have my move tool selected. You can hit V to get that move tool up. And then I'm just going to start turning these on one by one. Now you can see that there's a bit of an overlap between each layer. Now what if I wanted to move this purple one over? Okay, so I'm going to try to just grab it and move it over, and you can see that it's not working. The reason it's not working is because I do not have it selected. I have the green one selected. So I'm going to go up to this purple one. I'm going to click that, and now I can move it around freely. I can be anywhere in the document and still move it around. Now what if I wanted to move both or 2 or 3 of the layers at once? Well, I just have to hold shift, and then I can select 2 layers or 3 layers, and then hit, if I want to deselect, I can hit command and that'll deselect. So let's just select these 2, and now I can move these around. Maybe I want to select 3, I can move all 3 of them around, or back to 1 and just move 1 around. So let's talk about layer order. You can see that right now the purple layer is on top, the black layer is in the middle, and the green layer is below. And just as it's set up here on the right side, top to bottom, it is reflected over here in the canvas as well. So if I move the purple one down beneath the green one, just by grabbing it and dragging it down, it'll now be behind the green one. If I want to put the green one above the black one, I just need to move that up. And there you go. So you can see how this is really effective when you want to move furniture around, for example, or lights, or anything that has to do with an interior. It's really important to know how to layer these different pieces. So another cool feature that Photoshop has is an auto select option. Now what I like to do is I like to have my auto select actually checked off, right? Because if I auto select and I go around, I can select any of these if I have it on. But what if I just wanted to move the black one and I accidentally selected something else that I didn't want to move, but I'm trying to just target that one? It just can get a little confusing if you have a ton of layers. So what I like to do is I like to have it unchecked. And then all I need to do when I want to auto select something is hold command. So, and you'll see this little box pop up. I'll hold command or control if you're using a PC. And that'll allow me to just kind of pick anything I want. So again, you want to have this auto select unchecked. You want to have layer chosen. And that'll allow you to hold command or control to select anything you point at. So another feature I use a lot when designing is duplicating a layer. So what if I wanted 2 black layers? I could select my black layer and go up to layer, duplicate layer. But that just takes time. I don't like to leave my train of thought when I'm designing. So instead of doing that, I'm going to hold Alt and then just drag my layer down. And then if I hit V, which brings up the move tool, I can now move my new layer around. So let's put these principles to use in a real life example. So here's a few elements that I brought in from my desktop where I'm going to use them to build a room. So I'm going to turn on my living room design kit here. I've pre-built a room, and I just want to show you how I would move furniture around within it. So again, if you hold command or control and you click on the individual objects, you'll see that like the art piece is selected. So let's go ahead and move that. Again, I hit V for my move tool. I'm going to hold Command and click on my couch, and that's going to select my couch layer there. Move that down. Click here, Command click. Move that there. Command click here. And you see, this is why layer order is important, because you need certain things to be in front of other things. So I can now move this table up above the chair layer there, and it pops right in front. Now let's select my rug, move that, and that's nice because it's behind both the couch and the table there. I'll click my light. Whoops. All right, let's move that down here. Cool, so that's looking pretty good. Again, if I wanted to nestle it in behind the couch, I'd have to move it down here below the couch so that it disappeared and is overlapping behind the couch. Now, one other thing I want to do is take this shelving and move it over. So for this situation, I just want to duplicate it. I'm going to hold Alt, drag down. That's going to duplicate the layer. Hit V again. And now I'm going to move it laterally by holding Shift, and that's going to keep it a linear movement. You can see the lines being created as I do that. Now if I let go of Shift, it goes kind of crazy. So if I hold Shift and drag it over, it's going to stay lined up with where I'm dragging it from. So lastly, I just want to talk about organization. Now we only have like 6 or 7 different pieces here, but in a lot of interiors we're going to have so much more. We're going to have vases and plants and who knows what else. So just to stay organized, it's really important to try to categorize these different elements so that you can find them quickly if you want to move them or change their order, etc. So say we want this back wall to be on its own layer. So we got the art piece, we have the shelves copy. So let's move that art piece back with the shelves, and then I'm going to hold Shift and select each one of these. And then if I hit Command or Control G, that's going to group them. So now I have them in a nice, neat group. That's going to allow me to move them around as one. Or if I name the group, I can quickly find anything associated with the back wall. So let's just name it back wall. And if I wanted to go in the extra level, I would add it to a group with the doors and everything else in it. But so let's talk about the light. We got the light. It's right next to the chair, so that might be a nice group to have. Command G. Right, so now I have them. I got my table. That kind of stands alone. I'm going to leave that alone, and then the rug underneath, all that stuff is by itself too. Now maybe I just want to do one more group. Hold Shift, Command G, and then I have this entire group of furniture on its own layer. So you can see that by organizing like this, it could really save you a lot of time. And also remember that the fewer layers you have in a Photoshop document, the smaller the Photoshop document's overall size is going to be. So if you're worried about keeping a good amount of space on your computer and you don't want it to fill up with a lot of extra stuff, make sure to delete those images that you're not using for the design anymore. And lastly, taking that into account, we can reduce the amount of layers we have by merging them together. So for instance, I have my back wall here, and I don't need these shelves to be on separate layers, so I'll just hold Shift, select them both, I'll right click, I'll go down here to merge layers. And that takes one layer and turns it, or 2 layers and turns it into one. So that's another effective way to keep your comp size low and to also organize very effectively. Cool, so that is pretty much it for layers, guys. I just want to thank you for joining me for another tutorial here. If you do have any other questions about layers or anything else, just go ahead and leave me a comment in the box below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thanks again for being here, and we'll see you in the next lesson. If you are interested in building rooms like the one we used in this tutorial, head on over to our website, thedesigncure.com, and check out our living room design kit. It makes building rooms like this fast and easy. Again, be sure to subscribe to the channel and receive new tutorials every week that will help you master Photoshop for interior design. Thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you next time.